Ladies and gentlemen, the Bugatti 110. But let me introduce my colleagues. Here we have Mr. Rommelfanger, who is the project manager of all the Bugatti few and one-offs. And then we have Achim Anscheit, our design director. Everybody knows. Thank you, gentlemen. So let me give you a little introduction of why the name and why this car. So if we divide our long history in three periods, the first era is the golden era of Ettore Bugatti in the 20s and 30s. The third, so the last era where we are in today, started in '98 when the Volkswagen Group bought the Bugatti brand. And if we speak about the Intermezzo in Italy, so the second era, then we speak about Campo Galliano, and we speak about the car which was launched at the time, which was the EB 110, and which was a car which was ahead of its time. There are some around here on the lawn, lucky the owners. And I have to say that 110 is Italian and stands for 110. So the inspiration is coming from the EB 110, but also 110 stands for us because this year we are celebrating our 110th anniversary, so it's very important to have this name on one of our cars. But let's have a closer look at the car. The car has an 8-liter capacity engine with 16 cylinders, and it has 1,600 horsepower, which is leading to an incredible weight-to-power ratio of just 1.1 kilos. And this is something which is exceptional. And then we worked a lot on the aerodynamic and on the downforce of the car. You can see that in comparison, for example, at the Chiron, that here the horseshoe is smaller, so we have more airflow, easier airflow on the front. We have a nice air curtain on the sides of the car. We have a massive rear diffuser, and we have a spoiler which is increasing the downforce by 200 pounds. So if we put together the exceptional engine, the weight-to-power ratio, the aerodynamics, and the downforce, we have a car which is jump starting from 0 to 60 in just 2.4 seconds. We have a top speed of 236 miles per hour. But every car which is leaving our atelier in Molsheim has to have the clear brand identity of Bugatti. And certainly the 110 has it. They have to fulfill the issue of being very performing, but also very easy to drive. They have to be very luxurious, but also very comfortable. They have to be elegant, and they have to have a design which is going to be timeless. And if we speak about the design here, you see elements. And if you compare them with the EB 110s on the lawn, you will see it. We have those elements here, but we also have the clear reference of all the Bugatti.
overall package right. So that means not only design, not only aerodynamics, not only engine, not only tires, is to get everything together and working in one car.
The key was a good team, and it was easy to find these people within Bugatti.
I think most people have been 150 miles an hour sometime during their life. If you then add just another 30 to make it 180, that's a whole different world. Then when you get to 200, it's a lot faster than 180. So when you're talking about 300, it's a massive, massive step.
Everything is fine, and you can start. at that kind of speed, normally aeroplanes are flying in the air. And you have to make sure that the car will stay on the ground, is stable, and not that nervous, that the driver feels comfortable in the car, and that you can drive that kind of speed without any risk.
Guys, what a fantastic car. Dankeschön, grazie, merci, thank you enough.
I think it was 3, 4, 5% more downforce, something like that. It wasn't much.
Okay. So this is obviously the next generation. What is the overarching principle with having the fan? Because it is not just maximum downforce at all times.
No. It's to make two things. It's to make the downforce more controllable and give the driver some control over what mode he wants the car to be in. And then it's also to enhance the downforce at lower speeds. But the main reason I did it was I knew I wouldn't need any fancy splitters and spoilers and stuff all over the car, and I could get whatever downforce I wanted.
So these are little active.
Yes, these are active. These work in
barely
unison.
notice them
Yeah.
at standstill. So what are the various modes? Because there's some really fun stuff in there.
Yeah, there's 6 modes. 4 of them are driver selectable, and 2 of them are auto. But the principle is exactly the same as the F1. It just works over more of the car. And now the control systems are more sophisticated. I could play a bit, you know. So it actually interacts not just with the undersurface, but with the top surface as well. So when we're writing the algorithms for that control unit, it's sort of semi-intelligent. So it'll do some things automatically, and some things the driver can select. So the 6 modes, in auto mode, the fan's not running. The way it works is the diffuser underneath is very steep. Incredibly, it's a reflex shape, and it's very, very steep. And the air would never follow it. Every designer on the planet would love a diffuser like that if you had arrows to say to the air,
This way,
do
please.
this. You know. So it stalls. So you just get a slight sweep up, small diffuser effect like a normal supercar, and you get a bubble stalling in the steep bit. So without the fan on, and these not active, it's just a normal ground effect supercar like any other. And it makes a normal amount of downforce. Makes 2 or 3 times more downforce than the F1, but that didn't make very much at all because of the top speed. So that's auto mode, we call it. And then if you brake heavily, the F1 was the first car to have that. I monitored, we didn't have accelerometers on the car, so I monitored brake line pressure and car speed. And the algorithm decides if you're going quick enough to need aero, or you're pushing the brake hard enough at a high enough speed, and the little flap pops up at the back and you get 30% more downforce. And drag the center pressure back. That's how the F1 worked. This one's a bit more sophisticated. So under braking, we now measure the deceleration longitudinally and the car speed, and the algorithm decides the same thing. These pop up to 45 degrees. The fan spools up to maximum, and we open the valves, and we use the whole diffuser, and we get 50% more, I beg your pardon, under braking, 100% more downforce.
What does that translate to in terms of
stopping distance?
Stopping distance.
Yeah, so from 150 miles an hour, it's 10 meters shorter,
Ooh, that makes a
which is
difference.
massive. You know, so it's a big safety feature. And then we have the most funky one, I think, is streamline mode. So what happens with ground effect or any aero loads on a car? They go up with the square root of the speed. It's parabolic. They go up with the square root of the speed like the drag does. And to have enough downforce, let's say 80, you know, to have a bit of fun. The problem is when you get to 150 or 160, you've got 3 times that downforce, and you're using up valuable wheel movement. And if you drive some supercars really quickly, they're on the bump stops basically. And, you know,
And,
then you've
and
got to
uncomfortable the rest of the time because you have to have really stiff.
Yeah, so the way around that is you start with high natural frequencies, very stiff springs, and that makes the car uncomfortable. I don't like cars sprung like that. I like cars that are comfortable. So
you see this as a GT, don't you?
Yeah,
I found that fascinating. You know, you assume hardcore track focus hypercar, but no, this is a long distance usable car.
So we've got streamline mode, which actually negates all those issues. So if you select that, and you don't have to be doing 150, you know, you can just be on a bit of dual carriageway. You select streamline mode. These go to -10, which reduces, drop down, and it reduces the base suction. What makes the diffuser work behind a car is the low pressure, which we call the base suction. All the vortices here help pull the air through. That's how ground effect works. So that reduces the base suction behind the car. We spool the fan up, but we shut the valves to the floor. So we stall the diffuser and lose half its downforce. And we pull the air from inside here to clean the air up and reduce drag over here. So the fan pulls the air from here and not underneath. And that gives us, that makes the car settle down. It's quieter, it's calmer in cruise mode. Better fuel consumption, of course. And it gives us a 12.5% reduction in drag.
Is it sort of effectively a long tail?
That's another thing. It does another 2 things. The one is the efflux, the exit from the fan. I mean, this thing shifts a massive amount of air at 5,000 revs. It fills in the trailing wake of the car, the bubbles and the vortices, and effectively makes a long tail car.
So you buy a T50, you get a T50 long tail thrown in for free?
Yes, it makes the car about 1 meter longer.
Yeah.
And then the final thing it does, it produces 15 kilos of thrust.
Oh, cool.
So And that's not insignificant in drag. 15 kilos of drag on a car like this is quite significant, actually, in pounds force.
Could you, I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, the car's at standstill in neutral and you run that. Could you make the car creep forward just on the fan?